Hi everyone, thanks for joining the session on Shades of Green, Shade by Shade towards a greener future. My name is Maarten Groot and I'm going to explain how service contributes towards a greener future of industrial processes. Special focus of this session will be on GPHEs, also known as the gasketed plate heat exchangers. You probably have been introduced by Kelvion by now, but within Kelvion, our vision is to heat exchange the world with sustainable engineered solutions. And let's focus on that first word a little bit, sustainable. By definition, sustainable means being able to continue over a period of time. The more sustainable, the longer that period of time. Within Kelvion, our goal is to make products and services that provide you a sustainable and efficient process. But guys, let's take one step back. Data from the NASA and the American Space Company, as well as data from many other companies, show that the Earth is gradually heating up since the late 19th century. This process of heating up has actually been accelerated since the year 2000. Without going into the discussion of whether it's correct or not, the fact is that sustainability and green is becoming more and more important in today's society. Not only in our personal lives, but also in business lives. And you can see that in practice as well. Since 5 years, big public companies are starting to publishing sustainability reports. Since actually this year, companies have to pay for excessive carbon emissions. There is a threshold, and if they exceed that, they have to pay per tons of carbon emissions. But also since a couple of years now, governments are subsidizing green projects of businesses. And if you take all of that into account, you see actually that in practice that sustainability and green is becoming more and more important in today's society. Reaching the destination of a greener future basically requires individual solutions to a wide range of industrial processes. There are many shades of green in heat exchangers. So independent from your specific individual goals or objectives, so independent of what you would like to achieve, our multidimensional product and service portfolio helps you to achieve those goals. Whether it's reducing your footprint, whether it's increasing the thermal efficiency of your overall process, whether it's emission reduction, energy savings, operational liability, or lifetime extension, we can help you achieve those goals. And let's do a deep dive now in GPHE service on how we can help you a bit more specifically. Okay, so let's do a quick deep dive on how exactly service on plate heat exchangers contributes to a greener future of industrial processes. There are many green shades of GPHE service, but let's focus on the three main ones: risk management, lifetime extension, and equipment right sizing. By monitoring your heat exchanger performance and operation on a regular basis, over time, preventive measures can be taken to remain efficiency levels, as well as minimizing the chance of unscheduled downtime or any other failures. Combining that with periodic inspections on site, you are basically extending the lifetime of your equipment. And you can compare this to almost any other product out there in the world. You can compare it to your bike, your car, even the blender in your kitchen. The better you take care of it, so the better maintenance you do on it, the longer the equipment will last. And that goes back to the definition of sustainability, being able to last over time. So the better you do risk management, the better you monitor and your equipment, and the better you do periodic inspections, the longer the equipment will last. But also equipment right sizing. Often we see that process conditions change at customers over time, and changing process conditions automatically means changing process requirements for heat exchange. And in this way, it's always good to see whether there's a need to upgrade or downgrade the heat exchange equipment aimed at preventing over or under capacity. there has to be always a match between process requirements and heat exchange performance. If that's on the same level, it's good. Either over or under capacity means that you're not running as efficiently as possible. So also there we can help you to see if process conditions change, how you can / should adapt your heat exchangers to match again with the process requirements. Following up on the shades of green, this is a great visual representation of our service portfolio. You see here on the vertical axis the productivity and efficiency of the unit, and on the horizontal axis the actual lifetime of the equipment of the heat exchanger. And you can see that along the life cycle, we as Kelvion servers can add value, but not only add value, but also extend the lifetime of that life cycle. For example, in the beginning phases, when you are in need of a heat exchange product, we can, with our expertise and our consulting skills, we can help you select the right and most efficient system for your process requirements. Once it's installed, once it's running, we can ensure smooth operation and with zero downtime due to our inspection and maintenance capabilities. And we can also extend the lifetime of your product and keep your processes running by making sure we're monitoring it and consult you on the right preventive measures to take. Eventually, upgrades and replacements can be done for even further lifetime extension, but it's all based, of course, on the dependent on the process requirements. So within the visualization of the lifecycle model, you already saw a couple of services which we can offer for your gasket plate heat exchangers. This overview right here shows you the complete portfolio. So we can offer services for startup, for on-site, as mentioned already, for monitoring, consulting, and training, repairs, overhauls, and maintenance, obviously spare parts and spare part solutions, and as well the upgrades and replacements. And without going into too much detail, I would like to take two of these services out and make that connection again between a greener future. And those two services where I would like to focus on are the performance audits and the reconditioning services. The performance audits, what we're doing there, we are performing live tests on the actual operating performance of the heat exchanger in process, and we compare it to the design values. For the reconditioning services, we restore the thermodynamic performance of the equipment back to design values, back to the original performance, whilst checking overall integrity. So one of the services we want to focus on today is the performance audit. But why do you want to do a performance audit? Well, naturally over time, heat exchangers are fouling. But not only over time, but also over time, the fouling gets more and more. By doing a performance audit, it's basically helping you to identify maintenance needs in an early stage before it's too late to increase process reliability and equipment performance. Customers of ours use the reports, the inspection reports, to address immediate attention items, as well as for planning reasons for future preventive and predictive maintenance of the different components. These tests are non-intrusive, so we will not disturb your process and are basically performed during operation. The way we measure it is we measure the inlet and outlet temperatures of as well the cold side as the hot side. Besides the temperatures, we also measure the volume flows through the cold side and the hot side. Before we actually start measuring, we will define the measurement time and the interval to know how many data is required, as well as we will define reference points. If we have done this before, we can take those measurements and compare it the results against those measurements. But if we didn't do it so far, we can compare it to design values and compare it the measurements with that. We will gather the data, we will take it home, and we will provide recommendations afterwards for your what the best heat exchange treatment would be for you in this case. So we talk about the service interval, we might come across potential process optimizations, you name it. Okay, so the second service we want to focus on is the reconditioning service. So let's assume that During the performance audit, one of the conclusions was that one heat exchanger in your process was not performing according to specification. The recommendation was to clean the unit and to clean it via our proven 10-step approach. This is then what we do with it. So once we get the plate back in one of our worldwide service centers, we will perform an initial visual inspection to see actually what type of fouling it is and how hard the fouling is. We will put everything in a report to document everything nicely. And the next step is to remove the old gaskets. We, of course, will check whether we can reuse the gaskets afterwards. But of course, for cleaning purposes, they have to be removed. We will scrape off the biggest fouling, the biggest dirt, and then actually the cleaning process starts. First, high pressure washing, making sure that the biggest dirt is removed. And then we start the chemical cleaning by lifting the plates into our acid and gasket baths. Once that process has been successful, we will do a second inspection as well as a dye penetrant test to see to check the integrity of the plates, whether there are tiny little holes in it. We will, of course, record every result in the documentation. And after that's done, we will remove the residual of the dye penetrant test afterwards, again, via high pressure washing, potentially put it in a bath bag. We will then start to clean the gasket groove. The gasket groove is basically fitting the gaskets in there and fixating it. Once that is clean, we do a final inspection of each and every plate to make sure that there are no damages and to check whether we might need to replace a couple of plates in case there are damages. And once that is done, we will fit basically the new gaskets in there. We will install the new gaskets or reuse the old gaskets when they're still okay. Sometimes gaskets have to be glued onto the plate, and the next step then for those gaskets is to tension the plate back to the glue for the glue curing and cure the glue and the process in an oven. The last step of this 10-step approach is a final step of approval, making sure everything looks nice, pack it carefully, and ship it back to the customer. And then we either help you install it or the customers install it themselves. One important final thing to mention is that Kelvion is an all-brand service company. So, of course, we offer services on our own heat exchangers, on our own Kelvion heat exchangers, but we offer the same kind of services as well for other brands. We, as a company, would like to help you by servicing all your heat exchangers brand on site. So we're basically the go-to service partner for you. So, and that goes as well for the reconditioning services, as the performance audits, where we focused on today, but as well as the other services we can provide. So going back to the start of this session, where we talked about the different shades of green for GPHE service, I hope that I was able to explain you how actually service contributes to a greener future of industrial processes via performance audits, via the reconditioning services, via basically the complete life cycle. So thank you very much for listening in. Thanks for joining. My contact details are on the next slide. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me and would be very willing to have a discussion with you on our services, and let's stay in contact. Thank you.